CHAARG, here we are. It's your last week of video content, which is wild. Time flies when you're having fun and working hard at all this wonderful intuitive eating work. And I want to start this last video, which really will be all about celebration and reflection, acknowledging how far you've come. I want to start that by saying this work is so different than what we're used to in diet culture. We don't, it's not as oftentimes tangible as diet culture can be. And at the end of 6 months, 6 weeks, you might feel like, wait a minute, what? We're done? And here's the thing. What we did in these 6 weeks is we laid the foundation. And unlike a typical, say, 6-week-long diet, where it kind of starts and finishes and then it's over, this work is so different in that in this 6 weeks, what we focused on was laying the foundation, introducing the 10 principles, practicing the 10 principles. You all got to give it a whirl, see some exciting wins, come to the group and ask me to support you through challenges and whatnot, which is amazing, right? So we really laid the groundwork. And now it's not just over and you're just done because this program ends. I mean, hey, if you're like, you know what, intuitive eating, not for me, hey, your prerogative, your life, do you? But if you're like, no, this really resonated, this feels really right, I definitely want to keep going, awesome. You have the tools. You now have the knowledge. You have the practice. And the work from here on out is to keep integrating this work into your daily life. Keep practicing honoring hunger and fullness. Keep questioning and noticing your food voices and shifting them from negative to positive. Keep playing with what foods are satisfying and what feels good in your body. Keep focusing on that full permission. Keep honing, getting to know your feelings and emotions and what you need in different scenarios, right? All of these things, they don't just end when the program ends. They are skills that we build and we practice the rest of our lives. Intuitive eating is a practice. That's what it is. It's not something to perfect. It's not a diet with a start or end date. It's not about doing it right. It's a practice. It's about using these principles to guide us so we can feel as good as possible, as often as possible. And so I hope you feel equipped from here on out to use what you've learned to keep going, right? To keep going, knowing that the longer you are doing this and the longer you're committed to practicing these principles, the easier it gets until one day you don't have to even think about it all that much, right? It's just kind of becomes second nature. I promise that's possible if you keep up this practice and keep showing up in the ways that you have, like that you had the past 6 weeks together. I am so grateful for having gotten to work with you guys and support you in Slack and in our coaching calls. And I really hope that this is just the beginning of this work for all of you. Know that the video content that you got in 6 weeks in my larger group coaching program, Intuitive Body Blueprint, they get one video, one single module every other week, right? For 6 months. And so just know that we really squeeze it in to the 6-week period, okay? You did it. And now you have the foundation to keep going ahead. All right, we wanna really now focus on all that you accomplished these past 6 weeks. I know that with intuitive eating, again, there aren't these big mile markers maybe like you were used to with dieting. And so sometimes we can easily glaze over and forget and not fully acknowledge and appreciate how far we've actually come. But I will tell you what, seeing the wins that you guys have shared, the celebrations inside our Slack channel, so much has happened these past 6 weeks, and you all have so much to be proud of. And so we want to now take time to actually acknowledge and celebrate your wins and your biggest lessons learned, right? This was all about learning how to connect to your body, to regain trust, respect, appreciation with your body. And again, this is a lifelong journey. It's not one and done in 6 weeks, right? We had the foundation now of, okay, this is how I can practice connection, practice trust, practice respect, practice appreciation, and so on and so forth. So let's do some journaling. I want you to grab your journal, and this is where you can feel free to pause this video to answer these questions for yourself. And we're gonna look at what you had actually first written in your very first entry. Before the program even began, right, we asked you the question, what is your current relationship with food and your body? We also asked you what your ideal relationship with food and body is. So pause the video and look back at what you answered. Okay, I'm hoping and guessing that you actually paused and looked at that. And I want you now to consider, right, to think back to like really where you were when you wrote that answer. Who were you even just 6 weeks ago? Because I bet a lot has shifted, even though it was just 6 weeks. So who were you being then, right? Who was the person that wrote that? What did you think things were going to be like back then? And then I would love for you to journal, where are you at now? And remember, this is only 6 weeks. It takes longer typically than 6 weeks to, get to that ideal relationship with food and body. So if you're not there yet, don't be like, oh man, like I failed. Like, no, it takes time to get there. But I want to acknowledge the important, big, amazing steps that you guys did take. Hell, maybe you're like, oh my God, no, this is awesome. Like I look at all, great. Wherever you are, I want you to pause now and journal where you are now in that relationship to food and your body. What has changed? What's shifted in you? What are some of your biggest lessons that you've learned? You just heard a massive sigh. That was Maple, my dog. Right? What lessons you've learned that you want to make sure to really take with you and carry with you going forward. So go ahead and pause this video and answer those questions. Okay, I'm guessing that you paused. I now want you to reflect upon and journal on what maybe module or topic really stood out to you. What do you feel like was the topic, the principle of intuitive eating that you're like, oh, that was my missing piece, or that was the thing that really resonated and made the biggest difference? Go ahead and pause and write that down and reflect upon it. Okay, I'm guessing that you actually did pause and reflect upon it. We now also want to review your intuitive eating assessment that you took at the very beginning of this program. And again, I don't expect that now it's entirely shifted, like from one end of the spectrum to the other. It's only been 6 weeks. This stuff takes time. But do go back and see, where have you made strides? Where do you feel like, wow, I used to not trust in my body at all, and now I'm actually learning how to. Right? It's okay if you're not like, I fully trust my body. Maybe you do. Awesome. But if you're at a space where you're like, no, I really feel like I'm learning how to trust my body, that is amazing. That is amazing. And so go back to that assessment. Look at where you were six weeks ago and take time to acknowledge and see how far you've grown since then. So pause and go ahead and do that. Okay. Now, I want you guys to grab a sheet of paper, or you can do it on your computer, whatever, however you prefer journaling, whatever you've been using this whole time. And simply reflect on what were the 5 most empowering moments or lessons for you that you want to make sure that you really carry with you going forward. And I want you to write these down. And this is where ideally, you can either print it out if you have a printer. If you don't have a printer, then write it on an actual sheet of paper. Or maybe even put it on your phone where you can take a screenshot and have it somewhere where you see it all the time on your phone. But I want these lessons to be somewhere, again, where you see them, maybe even daily, so you can keep them top of mind and so that they can be integrated into your daily life, right, as that practice. So go ahead, pause this video and write down what your 5 most empowering lessons or moments were in this course. Okay. Again, I'm assuming you paused and did that. So now we want to think about the future and moving forward. What is it that you want to really make sure that you bring with you now into, let's just say, the next 6 weeks, right? If we're to think about our life in little 6-week chunks, or maybe like a month chunk, or maybe you prefer a quarter chunk and 3 months at a time, whatever it is, whatever works for you. Think about that period of time and what it is you want to make sure that you are carrying with you into the future. Maybe what is a principle or an idea or a topic that you're like, I really want to make this my key focus over the next couple weeks. Maybe you have a mantra or a belief that you're working on. You're like, I want to really ground myself into this. Maybe there's an empowered action that you want to take. What is that, right? We want to think about how we're going to carry this forward into the future. So what is that, first of all, to reflect and journal upon that? And who is someone, maybe from this course in CHAARG, that can hold you accountable? That you can be like, you know what, let's make sure that we chat once a month about intuitive eating and about what we're doing, about how it's going. Putting that accountability into place will help you stick to those things, right? So what is that for you? And who is that accountability person for you? Pause the video and journal that. Okay, so where do we go from here? Be sure to tune into our final coaching call. I am so excited to get to see you all one last time and to get to celebrate, right? Celebrate together how far we've come. It'll be really, really amazing to get to share what came up in the journaling with each other, to share these lessons that we've learned, these great moments, to share what it is we're committed to going into the future. So we'll all come together and share what came up for you in this video, and it'll be a really beautiful way to wrap up our 6 weeks together. And I just want to thank you all for how beautifully you've shown up. This is not about doing this work perfectly. It's about showing up and giving it whatever you got. It's about questioning and getting curious and being compassionate with yourself along the way. And again, it's not a one-stop shop. It's not one and done. This is a practice that we now take with us over the course of our lives. And so I hope that you feel like you have the tools that you need to keep continuing your own journey and building this really wonderful relationship with yourself and your body and food and exercise. And of course, so with this course, you will have access to these videos for the next 6 weeks, right? And so if you want to go back and visit these videos, do it, right? Go back, visit the videos, revisit whatever you want to revisit, because you still have 6 more weeks left with the video content until that closes, right? And know that I'm always in your corner. If you want to email me or follow me on Instagram, at julie.olemacher, I am always in your corner. I am always rooting you on, always right there for you. So know that I have your back, okay? And so just know that I'm an email away, or follow me on Instagram. We can connect there and be friends. But I'll look forward to getting to know you guys more in that way after this course. And of course, we hope to, collaborate with CHAARG going forward and do more future courses. So stay tuned for all that good stuff. And I hope you guys have a wonderful summer. I hope that the work that we did in this first cohort, this first course, is able to really carry you into having the best summer ever. All right, friends, thanks for everything. You guys are amazing. So lucky to have gotten to know you. Bye.